Hello, 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 my dear community. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I want to welcome you. And if not, I want to thank you for spending your time and energy to support my channel. My name is Wei-Jen, and I help people to attract their desired lifestyle and love by expanding awareness, self-love, and energy vibration. So today's topic that I want to talk about is to expand your identity to manifest or to attract your desired lifestyle and love. And why this is so important? Well, couple things here. First of all, nothing stays permanent, including our body, our health, our age, our skin, our everything, relationship, object, material, right? Time or history, politics, right? All these things, nothing stays permanent. Who thought about that we would have this, pandemic? Nobody, right? So it is something that it hit us, but it also didn't stay permanent at the same time, right? But this external, environment or incident or events, right? When it hits us, it can hit us hard especially if we're not willing to stretch our comfort zone, if we're not willing to learn and to grow, right? To adjust ourselves, right? Then the situation will just go harder and harder and harder until we admit and we accept and we are willing to adjust what we can control in order to be a part of this environment or this world or this society. The second thing is that in order to pursue our desirable lifestyle or certain goals that we want to have or a certain stage where we want to be, whether it's professional or financial or personal, spiritual, right? It is very crucial that we have to expand our identity. And you might ask, how can I expand my identity, right? So I have a little note here. So the answer is very simple, is by doing the things that you normally wouldn't do. And here are a couple examples that I listed that I want to share with you, that things that I normally, wouldn't do, but I just did it with my intention and my motivation, knowing why am I doing this and what am I doing this for in the last 6 months. So here we go. The first thing that I normally wouldn't do, but I did it recently, is to provide free coaching service to my students, to my colleague, to young actors who is looking for resource, about how to start their acting career. And then including also in this channel, I provide my coaching service to people who want to dive into a deeper personal transformation. And so that is something that I provide free coaching service. Now, the second thing is that I also ask colleagues who I have never met in person, but always, know this person on my social media, to go out, meet up in person for coffee. That is something that I did it recently. And, so far I ask all, you know, colleagues who are female going out to have a coffee with me. And I did this, with my intention and my motivation. I know the reason I'm doing this because I want to gain my asset. Some people, they probably never thought about, or even if they know, they probably even undervalue the power of connection network. I used to didn't know that, part of my assets can include my network, can include my connection, my relationship with other people. But ever since I started my personal transformation, right, I realized and I learned that assets isn't just about, how much stock I have or what kind of fund am I investing or how much money do I make, how much am I having in my saving account. The beauty of my age, my time, my body, my connection, my network, all these things actually can be a part of my asset. So that is something why I asked my colleague to go out to have a coffee with me, right? So that's one level of the motivation why I asked the colleague out. But also the other, I also had another motivation, which is I want to, have deeper engagement and a connection with another human being. And then hopefully from this starting point, we get to develop a deeper relationship in the long run for the future instead of just interacting with other person on social media. So that is something that why I asked my colleague out to have a coffee with me. And then also, I want to listen to other people, their story and their background, because I never know what kind of inspiration will I get, right? So that's another thing. The next thing is that I wrote my own textbook for my students, right? So that is something that I did with my intention that I wanted to add value and then also create a personal connection between me and my students. And so with that unique value and a unique connection, right? Hopefully, this will plant a seed in their mind that they will feel that this is really rare, this is special, they're not going to, this is not usual, this is not popular or common that they can just go out and then find it somewhere else. So that is also another value that I wanted to add, and that guided me to take the action by writing my own textbook for my students. Now the next thing is that I also wrote my story for my next film production. And this is again adding value, bring my service, because when I wrote my story for my next film production, I generated some more opportunities for young actors, to be a part of my film. And so that way, in the end, they get to be seen more by audience and community. And all these things, I am doing is to, you know, part of the main goal, of course, is to expand my identity. But so far, all these things that I'm sharing with you guys, I have to be honest with you, the old me wouldn't want to do any of these things because it's so scared. Because, I could easily fall back to this old mindset, thinking that, oh my God, I never have this, I don't have this writing background. I don't have this teaching background. I don't have the coaching background or certificate or license, any of kind of things. So why bother to do any of these things that I just shared with you guys, right? So I could easily fall back to that old self and then not doing anything and then just daydream about it, right? But I don't. I made a different choices by setting my intention, knowing that, this is going to be a learning process. And since it's a learning process, right, there's no end unless, I stop breathing, right? Otherwise, it's always going to be a learning process every single moment, every day, every journey, and each experience. Now, the next thing that I have been doing lately to expand my identity is to wake up at 5 a.m. and hit the gym before 7 a.m. I know this also, brings to my body a lot of discomfort because my body will tell me, well, let's not go to the gym this early today. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it this afternoon. And so those are the inner voice that I have been experiencing on and off lately, as I am taking the action by getting up at 5 a.m. And I'm really doing it physically to stretch my comfort zone, to expand my identity. And I gotta tell you, after some time, I can start slowly feel the benefits, feel, my body is getting more focused and more energetic and more lighted, and more productive. So that's another thing that I've been doing lately. Now, the last thing that I did to expand my identity is to reach out others who are more successful than me for coffee. And I think, this is something that I used to have this old mindset, which is when I saw other people, their success, or other people, what they had, but I didn't have at the moment. I used to tend to be very intimidated by other people, their success or the things that they had, but I didn't have. And I wanted, you know I tend to get really intimidated, or either, if it's not intimidation, then I tend to, just walk away and being mad at myself, why couldn't I have that, right? Or get jealous. But today, I don't. Most of the time I choose a different mindset. I would study them, why they could do that, and how can I be like them, right? And how, so I'm going to ask them, hey, what is your tip or your method to be where you are today? Because, quite frankly, I admire where you are today, and that I want to see, what can I do for myself to get to where you are today. So that is something that I, stretch my comfort zone too. Now, keep in mind that, when we stretch our identity, expand our identity, also double check and then making sure, asking ourselves, why am I doing this to expand my identity, right? What is my motivation? What is my intention? And then how will I be benefit from all these things that I want to do to stretch my identity, right? And then also, when we expand our identity by doing the things that we normally wouldn't do, I can tell you that most of the time, interesting things or miracles or different experience, different outcomes usually will happen in the moment when you make a different choice, when you do things that you normally wouldn't do. You could also fall back to the old self by not doing it and just dream about it, or by procrastinating it and then just wait until there's a major event hits you, and finally you have to do it, right? um, so knowing why you're doing it and what are you doing this for, right? Whether it's for love, for duty, for curiosity, right? And for, adding values on other people, their path, meaning you're bringing service to the community. um, just know why you're doing that, because otherwise your body, your mind, your intellect, your emotion can get really confused, and that will, generate inner conflict, inner battle, right? So it's very important to tell each department in your body that your intellect, your emotion, uh, your intellect, emotion, and your body, right? That, okay, we're going to do this because of XYZ. Okay. Now, I also understand that many times, all these things that I just shared with you guys, right? Pretty much 9 out of the 10, those things that I just shared with you guys, if it's old self, old me, I would scare to death to do any of these things that I just shared with you guys. And the number one reason that I would be so scared to take the initial action to do it, to expand my identity, is because of the fear of that I am not good enough, the fear or the negative voice that tells me that I don't have the license, I don't have the coaching license, I don't have the teaching, credential, or I don't I don't have the screenwriting background or education, right? Who am I to do all these things? And, when I think about that, now I get to ask myself, is that true? Right? And also, if, when I answer myself that is not true, right? What am I going to do with this fear? Maybe I can use this fear to train my body, my mind to stay laser focused with the things that I can control, and then the things that I can do, and the new choice that I can make. So that is a new choice that I have been also making with the fear too. This old self, I used to let this fear get the best of me by not doing anything, by procrastinating, right? And I ended up, I didn't do anything. And that's, unhealthy pattern, unhealthy, vicious cycle just go on and on and on and on and on. So now, whenever you have this fear, or you questioning yourself, or you have some self-doubt, right? Just acknowledge that and don't deny it, but just simply acknowledge that and embrace that. So here is the quote that I want to end it with today's video. And this is coming from Marianne Williamson. She says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are actually powerful beyond measure. So coming back to what I was saying earlier is that, when we make a different choice that we have never met before, right? Usually the miracle or the new experience or an interesting things would happen. And that is surprising, that is unpredictable. And you want to have that kind of unpredictable choices and experience. Otherwise, every day our life, can be very comfortable, very predictable. And at the same time, there is something that we want to achieve, right? And so that is something that I want to share with you guys. I hope you find that this video is insightful for you. Again, how do we expand our identity? Is by doing the things that we normally wouldn't do. And again, that nothing stays permanent. So I want to invite you and encourage you to take the initial act, right? To take the power within you to be proactive rather than waiting, someone or something is going to come to us and that forces us to take the initial act to adjust ourselves, to find another new comfort zone. So if you like my today's video, feel free to like my video and even share with others. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Until then, I will see you in our next video. Have a fabulous day. Namaste.